All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Woo, man, the Orioles game crazy yesterday, and I definitely want to talk for a few minutes about my strategy here with the Orioles. Make sure it's clear to everybody, and then I had got a pretty good story to share with everybody because I want to talk about money management. And there's one lesson in particular, but I'll get to that in a second. First, I want to so the Orioles 7-0 yesterday, cruising, and then they hold on 8-7. They end up winning 9-7. But my perspective, gambling, I'm never two things. One, I'm never gonna bet against the Orioles. Like I just won't do that. And I'll never bet against the under team total with the Orioles. That's just it's contradictory to me enjoying sports betting because I like the Orioles. Like I'm gonna root for the Orioles. I love the Orioles. I want the Orioles to win. I bet on the Orioles to win, future bets. So it's just not fun. There's no incentive for me to say, hey, I like the Royals tonight. So instead, if I don't take the Orioles, that's my way of saying I just don't have confidence in this particular game, or I don't like the value. Usually, if I don't like the value, that's just because they're a really big favorite, or basically that would be the only reason I would say I don't like the value, or it's just I don't have a great feeling. Friday night, I hated the way the game was. I was frustrated, as obvious in my recap. Just what I was annoyed, and then Reagan's is amazing. God, we didn't make him look amazing yesterday, but he was amazing all year. I watched him and whatever. Didn't like lineup yesterday. So all these different things led me to say, let me just leave the game alone, which is frustrating from a gambling perspective. Giving you guys advice, making myself look good with my win loss record because it probably would have been 3-0, 4-0, because everything would have just been a hitting prop and the Orioles over their runs and Orioles to win. So it is frustrating, which again, if you're giving out games or betting on games, anytime you're thinking about, a win and you don't bet on it, it's going to be frustrating. But like I said, I don't want to give out advice unless I'm confident. And I just didn't feel great about the game. So moving forward, that's basically the barometer for my Orioles advice. Typically, I'll at least have one or two bets. But when I was analyzing the game yesterday, I was like, man, I don't like us facing the starting pitcher. So I don't want to force anything. Friday night wasn't a good night. And plus, I spent really a lot of attention on the NBA, getting ready for the playoffs. And anyway, so that's what led to not having a game. And it's probably a good lesson for everybody. Like two things to take away from that, right? Which is you bet with confidence, number one. And whatever, the fear of missing out, of making money sometimes is just another lesson. You have to think about why it's happening. It's annoying, it's frustrating, but the answer isn't to just bet when you're not confident because you don't want to miss out. So, all right. Anyway, enough about that. I'll get to the Orioles, I guess, in about an hour. I'm assuming the lineup will come out. Irvin's pitching. It's about even money. Um, I think Irvin's going to end up back in the bullpen. I know he's going to put a lot of pressure on himself tonight. Just we'll see exactly how I feel. I don't feel great off the bat, but we'll see what the lineup looks like. See what the Royals are doing. Maybe they'll rest Perez, and that'll give us an advantage there with the backup catcher. So, all right, Orioles stuff will come out in a little bit. But what I really want to talk about this morning is money management, and not to get into the weeds of what money management means when it comes to sports betting, because that's probably a podcast in itself. But my number one take on money management revolves around how much money can you afford to lose and the safeguards that you have to put up for yourself on a game by game basis, a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, quarterly basis, yearly basis, is how much can you afford to lose? Because we all do that with our entertainment in our life. And if you don't count sports betting as entertainment, meaning you don't expect to have a return on your investment, it's not really a money making enterprise. It's more of vacation money or whatever else you'd like to spend your money on. You're not getting it back. So if you think like that, then you're allowed to sports bet. If you don't, you really shouldn't be doing it because you're entering a world that is only going to be full of bad stuff. Like it just is. I don't want to be negative. It's Sunday, but if you don't have the safeguards up, you have no chance. So the story I wanted to share that basically shocked me in the safeguards, helped me with sales, helped me understand people. It's just a sale and a lesson I'll never forget. And it was about, God, what year are we in? So about 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago. Could have even been 12 years ago at this point. Long time ago when I first got into the business of selling picks. I had landed a really, really good client, and you can tell he's a really good client in a certain way, like off the bat. But once this happened, it broke through that he was a great client. So he trusted me enough, and I would give him so many different games, and he was so busy that he gave me his login to his account. So we could, in the case of him not being able to make a bet, we could just make the bet for him. And everything back then was offshore. So there's no DraftKings, no FanDuel, none of these legal apps. So it's a little different world. Anyway, I would have access, so I would log into his account and bet his games. Period. This was going on for at least a few weeks, maybe close to a month. But in that business, that's a long time. It's a long time to keep a client for that long. So this was a success story. It's actually winning for him. Not a lot of guys you win for long term, it's just the reality of the business. But this guy was winning for. And there was a game that I had given him. I forget exactly what game it was. I just remember the game winning and betting $5,500 to win 5,000 in his account. And it was some basketball game, college basketball game, went over whatever the game was. Can't really, that's not even the point of the story, but that was like a typical bet that we would make. 5 grand. I think the max bet was 10 grand, and we do it based on units. But we would do all kinds of we're doing all kinds of things in this account. When I say we, it wasn't just, this company I'm working for. So anyway, okay, so where am I? That night he wins 5 grand. That put him up 26,000 and change. I distinctly remember him being up 26,000 and change because at this point we had moved to a commission deal. The way you sell somebody in that business is you sell them for whatever you possibly can, frankly. But a lot of the sales would revolve around a commission deal, meaning, I'll get a percentage of your winnings. And usually you pull that off if a guy's invested enough money and you've run out of things to sell them, or heck, there's whatever. I can talk about that at different times. So this guy was on a commission deal. That's why I knew exactly how much was in his account, how much we were up, because whatever we were up, he was going to pay a percentage of that each week. So they're highly motivated to know exactly what's going on in his account. He's up $26,000 and change. Never forget that part. All right. I go to sleep. So every day is pretty much the same back then. Like I'd wake up, crack it on, and the first three things that I would do is I'd open Scores and Odds, the Gmail account because I had access to the company email, and the website, right? Because the website needed to be updated. So whatever the daily update needed to be for the game, well, write up whatever it needed to be done. Same routine, same everything. But at this point, I would check this guy's account. That became part of the morning routine because $26,000. I was excited to see it, whatever the percentage is. So I go into here's the story. So I go into his account, and there's $0. $0. So my first thought was a bad thought, that he pulled it out and is not going to pay the commission. That start everything became like about me and my money. So I'm like, all right, what happened? What happened? What happened? And I call. So I'm trying to think of the better way to tell the story. So, all right, better way to tell the story is the phone call. So I call him. I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? Like he answers, and he's not in a terrible mood. Like he's almost relaxed in a way. And I'm just like, what the hell happened? He's like, I lost it all. It's from Texas guy. And he says, I lost it all. And I'm thinking, how could you like what that's impossible. And I'm now raising my voice because I'm looking at the pending bets and there's no bets. Like I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Right. Like I get very, very angry. I remember yelling. It's early in the morning too. Cause I'm thinking, remember, I'm thinking he just pulled it out, didn't want us, maybe didn't think I was keeping track of exactly how much money he's up or whatever. Things happen all the time in this industry, and I'm getting paid based on how much he's up. So I know exactly what's going on, and there's no money in the account. But I still have access to the account, meaning he didn't change the password on me, and he's answering the phone call. And he goes, I lost it all. And as I'm calming down, he's explaining it. He's saying, all I remember him saying is blackjack. And I was like, what the fuck does blackjack have to do with the tour? So then I thought he pulled out the money, went to a casino, lost whatever, everything that was in there, um, playing blackjack. And that's when I guess it didn't click until he said it. I knew in the back of my mind that these offshore sports books are connected to casinos. I guess for whatever reason, I didn't think that you could just move the money, which is silly because of course you can. They'll make it as easy as possible for you to gamble. This son of a bitch, that's the story, is literally gambled away every dollar that we're up on blackjack on the internet in the matter of I don't know, when did I go to sleep? Couldn't have gone to sleep 11:30, midnight till 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So sometime in the middle of the night. And the way he told it, he was it's I'll never forget him not caring. Meaning, I cared. He didn't want to bet anymore. I remember him saying, something along the lines of, "I'm gonna take a break, or maybe I'll get back with y'all during football season," or something like that. Um, Whatever the hell he said, but it didn't bother him. And what is so strange about it is I remember telling this story to every guy that I'm working with and anybody and everybody that's willing to listen to me because I'm like, I can't believe this happened. And it hit me as I'm sharing the story that maybe he could have afforded to lose it. Maybe he couldn't. I don't know. And if he could have afforded to lose it and he had fun playing blackjack and he's worth $50 million, then great, good for him. If it's the opposite and he needed that money and his demeanor was that way just because people handle things in different ways and who knows what the hell happened to him. Never, I mean, we tried selling him a million times, but I never got back on the phone with him after that day. So I don't know exactly what happened to him, but that was it. He was up 26,000. So I forget exactly how much was in the account, but it was like 40 something. That's what I remember. 40 something in the account, but I was up 26,000 with, he's up 26,000 based on the games we're giving him. And it's just one of those things where we're just rolling and he's betting a lot of money. And like I said, streaks happen. It's not that, I'm an amazing sports bettor or anybody that I bring on is going to win 70%. I don't think those people exist. I hope I can find somebody. That'd be great. Change my life. But yeah, I'm under the belief that this is really, really, really hard to do. Really hard to do. But everybody's going to go on streaks, so you got to be careful. You even yourself are going to go on a streak, and yeah, when you go on the winning streak, if you extend yourself too far, it's hard once the losses pile up to not chase. Like that's what chasing is. So basically, the point of the story is that if there's one thing that's above all that I'll be stressing through this company is that you have to have the amount of money that you're prepared to lose. Every bet prepared to lose. Like and be honest that you're prepared to lose, meaning there's consequences if you lose. If I lose this bet, I'm not betting for X amount of time. If I lose $10,000, I'm done until this point in time. Because we all know roughly how much money we make, whether it's commission, whether we're retired, whether we're super rich, whether we're paycheck to paycheck. Everybody knows where the money is and how it's coming in. And if you don't, then you're just whatever. You're being ignorant to that. You shouldn't be betting on sports, period, if you have nothing coming in. But assuming you do, which is most people, and then it's like, man, I want to change my financial situation. How do I fight that urge to do it through sports betting? That's really the main thing. So, all right, I'll shut up. It's Sunday. Let's see, 10:30. I will get out my thoughts. So I posted everything with the NBA yesterday. Just my thoughts before the series. If I like anything, I was 1-1 yesterday. If I like anything specifically, I'll certainly put it out there. I am leaning really strongly towards the Heat, so I'll do more research. But man, 14 points with the way the Heat plays seems like a ridiculous amount of points. Besides that, the other three games today, just I'll watch. So Orioles picks and the Heat Celtics thoughts on that will be out soon. Jack so far is 500, although he does get credit. I don't want to type this up because it'll sound like whatever, so I'll just say it and we'll move on to today because it is what it is. But I promise he texted me he likes the Cavs, but maybe it's my fault. But I said I was like I need the picks at least an hour before the game start, just because we're running a business and even though we're doing Telegram, I still like having an hour. Maybe on NFL Sunday, I'm willing to go a few minutes closer because everybody knows when the game starts. But yeah, I told him that. And I was like, obviously, you can bet your own game, do whatever you want. So he sends me that like 30, 40 minutes right before the game. And I was just like, I don't know, that's first game of the day. And he wasn't ready for the other game. So I said, whatever. So that was a win. And then he types up Bruins -1.5 plus 195. He's like, this is what I'm betting. I was like, all right, but we should put it at money line, and then I can put a couple sentences. We could add the if you like a -1.5. And at first he was like, yeah, but I am going to be betting -1.5, and that's something I'll fundamentally disagree with in hockey and in baseball. I think I've said it before. I don't like doing -1.5. That's what he wants to do, and that's like obviously it worked yesterday and he felt strongly. He wanted the juice. And I was like, all right, but I'm not going to do two separate bets because, I don't think it's the greatest advice in the world. And we can talk about it more on the podcast. You can defend yourself, but typically -1.5. So anyway, he was right about the Bruins. He has split so far on the NBA. That Lakers Nuggets game was weird yesterday. Man, the Lakers looked great early and then I guess they just got too tired. They don't have a bench and Jokic looked determined. So he fell short, and I fell short. I don't know how we both did. The way that game was going, I was like, if it goes over, um, you know, maybe the Lakers get blown out, but the Nuggets will keep scoring. The Lakers should score at least 50 points in the second half. He just died. So anyway, we didn't get, excuse me, the free throws down the stretch. We both went 1-1 yesterday. I'll have Jack's picks out later this afternoon and myself as well. Hope everybody has a great Sunday. And yeah, I'll see you guys.